And we're live.
And we're live.
Hi. Yes. Hi and welcome to this live event with Struct Sales and Oneflow. And what we're going to talk about today is how to optimize your processes and automate sales for scalable growth. How about that one? Welcome, Emilia, and my fellow colleague, Robin. Do you want to make an introduction and tell everybody what we're going to talk about today?
Thank you so much. Yeah, surely. And first of all, again, warm welcome to this event. And as Oliver mentioned, my name is Robin, and I work as a head of operations at Struct Sales, and I'll be moderating this event today. So obviously, the focus will not be on me. The focus will be on Oliver from Struct Sales and also Emilia from Oneflow. As Oliver mentioned, today's topic is the Sell Smarter 2025 using HubSpot and Oneflow. Simplify process, boost efficiency, and 10x your sales. Sounds interesting, right? I thought so. So this event will be approximately run for 30 minutes, including a Q&A session at the end. And I'll be managing the Q&A session, so feel free to pop in your questions, and I really encourage you guys to contribute questions. So I'll be managing it at the end. And also you don't need to wait until the Q&A session. Feel free to add your questions during the live session. So with this said, it's time to get this event started. The speakers, as mentioned, will be Oliver Lopez, the CEO of Struct Sales, and also Emilia Janis from Oneflow, and she is the head of partnerships. So, guys, I have you guys. Let's go.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Let's jump right into this one. I just wanted to start with the trends we're seeing in 2024 and moving into 2025. The trends in selling and sales. Emilia, so the reason why we're doing this event together is that we, for once, we're partners. We manage a lot of clients. I know that you use other CRMs as well, but our partnership is HubSpot and Oneflow. And the reason why we decided, from my perspective, to partner up with you from Oneflow is that sometimes when you talk about processes and optimizing ways of working and selling, things might be missing. Like you might have a feature or a function, but if you add another partner like yourselves who are really good at what you do, you kind of can see the whole flow and you can make it really, really efficient for everybody working in sales. So do you want to kind of just mention the trends you're seeing? This is actually one of your slides, and which you put together. I agree on everything, but do you want to kind of start off with the first one and move down? What are we seeing in the marketplace today? And we are now in Q4, beginning of December, moving into next year. Like, what's the trends for this year, almost ending in 3 to 4 weeks? What's your takeaway on this?
We had a good chat here with my colleagues at Oneflow, and I think that we all agree on this. I mean, 2024 has been an interesting and tough year for everybody, for a lot of different reasons. But these are sort of three main trends, challenges, whatever you may want to call them. But of course, there's a lot of economic pressure on buyers driving. Basically, you need to make sure that you buy the right stuff and you spend your money wisely. And we see a lot of sort of demand on a very clear return on investment from our customers before they commit. So, a lot of pilots and stuff like that. People are less sort of likely to just jump into something they think will fit without having all the answers. And then, I mean, more and more, this has been a trend, I think, going on for a few years now, but B2B buyers are more and more looking like a B2C consumer in their expectations on the sales process. It needs to be smooth. And that's also, I mean, I'm here as head of partnerships. It's impossible for me not to talk about sort of Neurobound as a and I think that sort of plays in highly when it comes to providing quality for your prospects and customers. Sort of tying back to what you spoke about, Oliver, earlier. We're completely. We need partners like Struct Sales to operate efficiently and with high quality towards our customers, operating especially in the bigger ecosystems of HubSpot and the likes. It felt like you wanted to jump
Yeah, I did want to add on a few things before we move to one of my favorite, I would say everybody's favorite maybe, or maybe hate object, AI and automation.
Yeah,
But
sure.
before we get there, I totally agree. Specifically, one thing you mentioned is something I'm seeing every single day. Basically, is that B2B it hasn't become B2C, but it's very, very similar. I tend to talk a lot about things like pricing on your website, like things like being transparent and things like that people buy from people, which is kind of something we've said for many years, but it is actually really true that you buy from somebody you like and trust, even if you buy a tool or a product or a system which is actually not as good as the other one, but you don't really trust that guy or girl, so you go for the safe card anyway, because and this comes down to feelings. Like in B2C marketing and selling, it's always been about like enabling and engaging people feeling things. In B2B, it's always been, here's the spreadsheet, and it's also interesting. Let's dig into that as well, the ROI investments and calculations, because I these are the trends, but I still see that people, when they eventually buy, of course, they need to be able to defend the investment and base this on something, but eventually it's like, it's the feeling. And the same thing we've been doing in B2B sales for many years is, you can lose the deal to somebody who actually said, everything is good, I'm going to sign, numbers looks really good, but what happens is that it doesn't feel good, so I won't make the decision.
Or, someone comes in from the sidelines that you as a seller didn't know about and recommends another tool, and then you just lose the deal because of a existing relationship. And I mean, again, like, I'm obsessed with partnerships, so I'm gonna probably mentioning it a lot of times, but I mean, that's why you need partners. You need the whole ecosystem there to support you, so that doesn't happen. You need a good group of friends that can help you close your deals.
That is true. On the topic of like, because you mentioned ROI and investments, and people are not committing as much as before, it's more pushed. What are the reasons for that, would you say? Like, what's your experience?
I mean, money is tight, right? Everybody feels that. So you're less likely to make a big investment. I mean, we see it, and I guess that you see it as well. Companies are more likely to start small and sort of future-proof the products and the services that you want to buy, and then you expand if your ROI is positive. But that's more, I mean, that was the truth for smaller companies a couple of years back, but that's also now for the bigger companies.
And this is an interesting topic, ROI on investments, because I like, why I get pretty frustrated when people say, wow, is the license really that expensive? And I go like, well, what's more expensive, buying a license which will enable a smarter way of working, or throwing away minutes or hours of your life because you're doing stuff you shouldn't be doing, and you're doing manual work, you're not optimizing? What will cost you more? And people don't see the alternative cost, which is like, if you're saving 3 hours a day, or 2 hours, or 1 hour, or 5, whatever it is, like, there's a price on your time. So if you can't see the value by working efficiently, even though you need to invest money, I mean, you're missing kind of the whole thing. And this takes us to your third part of this slide, the AI automation as game changers. I would say they are, but still every single minute, basically, there's a new AI tool out there, and everybody can. I remember one of those like the tech landscape. I don't know which company it came from the beginning. It's like 400 or 500 tech tools for salespeople, which you can use to enable selling. It's totally crazy because nobody can manage like 500 tools, and more are coming every single day. And what do you think? We spoke about this, but what do you think is the reason people are looking to the tools and the quick fixes instead of basically doing the work? Like, why are people stupid or not thinking all the way, or is it like, are we all lazy?
Yeah, I think people are just human, right? We all want quick fixes, and you never stop believing, or you never stop hoping. Hope is the last thing that leaves the man, right? So I think that the hope is still there. People are not stupid, but they're human, and I think that we as providers of tools and services needs to guide our customers to make smart decisions. And I think AI and automation is a game changer when used wisely. But it can also, I mean, I see it a lot. You also do that, Oliver. I'm pretty sure that people also buy a tool and think that that's going to just solve all of their problems, but then they forget about implementing it correctly, doing, putting in the work of doing good configurations and good integrations. I mean, it doesn't matter if you have all the tools in the world, if they can't speak together, and if you don't use them correctly, it's not going to improve ways of working.
No, that's totally true. What about AI and automation? Like, what's your do you see any bad things with AI? Like, you put in a few, like, advanced insights, enhanced efficiency, hyper person. Like, what are the bad things on the other side? What are we seeing being not good for us when we're selling?
I think when you just sort of just buy it straight off without being critical towards whatever output you get from AI, it tends to be very sort of generic and impersonal, and you can sort of tell quite quickly if someone is using AI in the wrong way. But if you use it in the right way to help you automate your tasks, automate the repetitive work tasks, data entry, stuff like that, amazing, great. Summarize follow-up emails after a meeting, stuff like that, amazing. But to sort of automate your full sales process, it's just gonna feel impersonal.
And exactly, and I think that most people are like, it's I always, even though I have a company, I have a few employees and colleagues of mine, and I still see myself as a salesperson first and foremost. I'll always be that. I love making deals and supporting clients in choosing the best solution for them, and making the best investment. But I still think that most of the sales people I meet out there, including myself, some call us lazy, I call us smart. I think it's kind of another way to say the same thing, because why should you even put in more time in manual repetitive tasks if you don't need to? For example, the challenge with this is, like, the trends I'm seeing in 2024 and connected to AI and automation is, like, just because you can mass email 5,000 people with a push of a button, you don't have to do that. Like, even if just because the option exists that you can automate LinkedIn messages and DMs to everybody, even those you don't know, and put a sequence in there and be super not personal. I mean, what happens? Well, a few of the hacks out there are actually people changing their first name on LinkedIn, putting an emoji in the beginning or at the end of their title or name, which shows you what? Well, obviously every automated email will be super obvious that it is automated, because you will be called like horse emoji Oliver Lopez. Like, that's going to be okay. So that's another thing I'm seeing as a challenge, is that people, like, be totally honest and say, this is an automated email. It's totally fine. And we're not, like, I said stupid, like, but we're on the other hand, like, we're not. People are not stupid. People are smart. So I understand that this is an automated email. Why are you trying to make it seem as something else? Like, are you trying to make it personal when it isn't? That, I like the trust, which is something we're seeing now. Trends also, I mean, the trust in sales people has always been kind of like, selling is bad. You're trying to, like, to cheat people. You're trying to make them buy things they don't want to have. Like, for me, it's totally opposite. It's like, we're trying to help and support people. But the more we do this, like, we use technology to be more very not personal at all.
Yeah.
We're kind of we're kind of jumping on the same wagon as the people who are saying that salespeople are lazy and they just want to earn a lot of money and then they don't want to help people. So like I think there's an opportunity to really use AI and automation in a much more efficient way. You had a few examples. Like, do you see any other ones like where AI is actually working really, really good?
Yeah, I do. And I think, like we've been talked about, like the very repetitive work tasks that just come again and again, and then data quality, things that are not fun. You shouldn't spend your time doing things that are not fun. Putting data in your CRM, it's not fun. There's great AI to help you with data entry in your CRM. Use that. The sort of benefit of it is both time saving, but also the quality of the data will be better, because I'd rather have data than not have data. So CRM filling or whatever system filling using AI, amazing. What I use on a daily basis is like summaries of meetings. So instead of taking notes myself, because I'm also a salesperson through and through, and I love conversations and I love talking to people. And I know that if I'm taking notes at the same time, I'm not going to be as good of a sort of listener as if I can use AI to just summarize them for me. So a great sort of way of using AI. And then, any sort of before a lead has become an opportunity, when you've actually gotten that first interest from someone, to just make sure that you keep your lead warm. And again, I think, like you say, be just transparent about the fact that it's automated. But everybody knows that if I don't keep poking you, you will forget about me. So I think, just be smart about it.
Exactly. And that's the thing, like to use AI and technology to, I mean, there is a saying also, like people who are afraid of AI and people who love AI, the difference between them is, I've spoken to a lot of, we actually did, we've done a bunch of AI webinars before as well, like connected to marketing and sales and everything. But the thing is, people who understand that the ones who are actually using AI in the right way are the ones who are going to be super relevant in the future. The ones who say AI is not replacing me, I'm a human, I'm not even going down that path because I'm so valuable, so I don't need that. Those people are going to be replaced, because you need to understand, and this is my what I think and hope is that AI is not going to replace humanity in the short term. Nobody knows what's going to happen later. Maybe we're going to be kind of hybrids, everybody. Maybe that's the best solution. But for now, the ones who actually can use AI and control and use it to their like advantage, I think that's the way to go, like to understand, like how can I use ChatGPT, which is the smallest, simplest way of AI usage, but what most people can relate to. How can I use it as a tool to do some research before a sales meeting? How can I use it to find out what the trends in the industry is now and what is going to be in the future based on questions I'm asking ChatGPT? I also have I use it like I tell AI to impersonate sales personalities, like sales trainers and CEOs of companies. And how would you write this email if you were Richard Branson? And it's super cool because it gives you, or if you have a tonality, somebody you follow, a salesperson, an entrepreneur, you love the way they talk, express themselves, you just put their tonality into it, and then you adjust a few things, and boom, you're off. But again, I think what you said is so important to be honest about that. This. Yes, I've used AI. Yes, I've done this, and this is automated. That's totally fine as well. But there is a reason why, and I normally kind of default to, if you have to choose, use AI internally and do not use it as much externally. And that's what you said.
I totally agree. I just want to share like the smartest way I use AI, and my team are using AI, because we're really pushing sort of near bound as a go-to-market strategy within Oneflow, and for a salesperson that might feel a bit far-fetched or difficult to understand in the beginning, because it is a sort of more complex way of selling. It will have positive sort of impacts on your hit rate and deal sizes and sales cycle. But what we always struggle with, because my team, we're not sort of that customer close. We're not the ones talking to the end users. So for us to provide leads to our partners, which we know we have to sort of feed our ecosystem, we now use AI to track when a customer is dissatisfied with a partner of theirs. It could be, an agency like Struct Sales, or a tool provider like, CRM provider, or contract management provider, for instance. So we get a ping. My team gets a ping when a customer or a prospect is dissatisfied, and we can reach out to a partner and sort of engage them in that potential opportunity. So that's, I think, that's the newest and the smartest way that we use AI in my team.
Yeah, and it all comes to show that you need to find your use case for your company. But I think that both of us agree that maybe more internally to optimize the way we work, to save time, to make things more efficient. And if you want to use it externally to clients and stuff, don't be like everybody knows it's an automated email. Yeah. Be totally frank about it. And I have no problem receiving automated emails. What I do have problems with is when people are trying to make it seem personal and they fail, and to get back and get trust after that mistake, it's going to be super, super hard.
Extremely.
I think let's jump to Q&A. Robin, are you still with us?
I am still with you.
He's there. Perfect. So yeah, I'm gonna let you in, and we hopefully probably have a few different questions. I'm also gonna do like this. I'm gonna take this one away, and I'm gonna do. Let's see which one would be this one. So let's do Q&A, and I'll hand over to you, Robin.
Yeah, and firstly, thanks a lot, Emilia and Oliver. I think you really highlighted some interesting areas that are very relevant going forward into 2025. And based on that, we have actually received a lot of questions, which is it's super fun. So I will start off with this one. And I think you have been touching, or you're speaking a lot about this, but the question is followed. How can sales teams ensure that automation enhances the customer experience rather than making it feel impersonal? I know you have been speaking a lot about this, but if you could just elaborate a little bit more on that, and give some small advices on this part.
No, but I think, like we already talked about, automation should simplify or amplify human connection, and simplify repetitive tasks. It should not replace human touch and human interaction. It should make it stronger. So like data entry and all of those repetitive tasks that we've been talking about. And this is, it's not we're from Struct Sales, representing HubSpot and Oneflow. So of course, a good example is using our tools well integrated together. HubSpot and Oneflow side by side, compared to well integrated, is a game changer. So making sure that the investments that you make on your tech stack actually pays off by putting the time and the resources necessary to make sure that they work together.
A question, Emilia, on that topic. What is your favorite HubSpot Oneflow integration feature?
Yeah.
So to say, and why would you choose that one?
It needs to be sort of the two-way sync and workflows. When we sort of made our app work together with HubSpot workflows to really automate tasks, that was a game changer for our customers. But the two-way sync is just a no-brainer, and that it doesn't work for all systems is super frustrating, I think, as a also user of a lot of tech tools. But having to input anything in more than one place is just super annoying and super frustrating. And it also gives a lot of control and makes me as a leader also more confident with my team to handle processes more smoothly, and the customer experience is also just better because of it. So an example is like, you have your line items in HubSpot, you have your service or your product that you want to sell, and the customer comes back and wants to negotiate prices or whatever volumes, not having to update it both on your deal in HubSpot and on your offer or contract that you've already sent out. I mean, you shouldn't have to do that. If you have to do that today, please call us and we'll fix it for you.
And also, just speaking about, or what you're speaking about, Emilia, we have a question like similar to that one, or that you could elaborate a little bit more about. So the question is following: what kind of KPIs or metrics should businesses focus on when assessing the impact of streamlining the contract management on sales performance? Meaning, you talked about like using HubSpot and Oneflow, the workflows, but then what sort of KPIs and metrics should you use?
I think Oliver already touched upon a few good ones, but I mean, you really need to look into the time that you're spending doing those tasks today. And if you can lower that time, I mean, that's a win, right? But I mean, if we're talking about sales performance specifically, I would say like time to close, how much faster are deals being finalized, up to customers, like customer conversion rates, error reduction. That's a difficult one maybe to measure, but I think it's important, especially like connecting back to two-way sync. If you can reduce the risk of data error in your CRM system, which should be sort of the heart of your business, that's a big win. So don't forget that one. Also ties into like data quality, so like error reduction, data quality, and then just overall team productivity, I would say. Anything you want to add?
Nice. No, I mean, I talk a lot about like using one CRM where you have everything connected, and you shouldn't jump in between systems and tools. And this, what you said right now, is super important. I'm not saying that you shouldn't connect external tools to HubSpot, because that's one of the main strengths they have at HubSpot is the open APIs. And so what you should do is you should keep the data in HubSpot. You could keep everything there, but then you can pull, and the two-way sync is a game changer. Totally agree with that. So you don't need to jump in between, but you can connect other tools, whatever it might be, but you can trust that the 360 customer journey is in HubSpot, that one single source of truth. You can trust reporting and everything, but then the data can come from other tools, but you don't need to jump in between them. So
true.
I think we can do two more questions. So, and Oliver, you often speak about, creating growth and in like particular scalable growth. So this is a question about this part. So when scaling a business, what are some of the early warnings signs that a process or workflow is at risk of breaking, or how can they even mitigate it? So meaning, how can they, scale their business without like things like going broken?
Yeah. So the fact, in most of the cases, there isn't any process or structure in place. So the thing that breaks, it breaks because there is no plan for growth. So basically, what I talk about, we have these 6 different boxes to enable growth. It's like everything from business goals down to implementing tools and systems. But the most challenging ones are the ones you just mentioned. It is processes. It is the way to be able to map out, for example, like the sales and marketing and delivery process and the handover between them, the automation when it is needed. But what's challenging for most companies is that everybody wants to recruit a new salesperson to grow when there are no leads, nobody to call, there is no sales process in place. So they recruit a salesperson, they give them 6 months, they then get rid of them, and it costs them extreme large amounts of money. So instead of recruiting people, you should do this, but when there is a process in place, when there is a structure in place, and when there is a tech stack of, I would say, 6 to 8 tools, maybe, tops, not 500 tools. If everything is set up and ready to go, this is when you can recruit, depending on where you are. Is it inbound, outbound? whatever you call it. So I think when we grow too quickly, we need processes and these kind of boring things even more. And that's basically what, in most of the cases, is never in place.
And I think just to sort of tie into that, I think the risk of that is also that you hurt the thing that is the most valuable to you, and that's the how well does your employees sort of feel. Their frustration and their sort of day-to-day, you need to make sure that you can support them, because if you don't have the processes and the structures and the tools in place, they will just be fed up with their day-to-day and leave you. And that's, the biggest risk. So
agree.
So basically start at right end, right? Perfect. So we'll go for the last question. I see that we have, I think we're over 30 minutes now, but we'll do the last questions. So given the market uncertainties of 2024, what strategies or tools can businesses adopt to remain agile and resilient as they move into 2025? So, you obviously you mentioned a lot of tools already, but is there anything else you want to add there? Besides HubSpot and Oneflow, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
Now, I mean, being who I am and sort of having the operational role that I do at Oneflow, I would say leverage your ecosystem, your partnerships. I mean, it's going to be it's going to change how you sort of view your sales process, and it will have a positive impact to your customer satisfaction, I would say, if you utilize the strength of your ecosystem.
Yeah, and I can add to that. I said, like, maybe you need 6 to 8 different tools. If you're in sales today, I would say it could be 10, it could be 4. Depends on what kind of business you're in and what kind of industry. But still, I like think about, as Emilia said before as well, like where can we save time and be more efficient? Because I also connect back, you mentioned it a few times, like the people we have in the company, those are our most valuable assets. So we need to make them happy and satisfied, and if we, so another thing I talk about with growing companies and C-level people and owners is that you need to connect your employees' goals to the company's goals, and some of the times it doesn't have to be business goals. It could be that you have a personal interest of, like, in 5 years I want to be, I don't know, whatever I want to be. So how can I as a company enable your dreams as part of you growing with my company? And I think this is something Oneflow has managed. I think I'm reading this from time to time and talking to people. Culture is one of your kind of, like, you've been with Oneflow for 9. I don't know if you even want to mention it. 9
years.
Yeah. So one of the first, like, and we've also had a live event maybe 6 years ago, some 5, 6-ish, yeah. And you're still there, so it says something about the company and HubSpot, obviously, and hopefully our company as well. We try to attract the people who are like yeah, people want to grow, want to have fun, want to be able to do their personal stuff as well. So it's complicated, but I mean, like, the thing you shouldn't do in terms of adding tools or ways of working is, like, take it easy. It takes time. Start easy. Make people, like, adoption of tools. It's even more important than using additional tools. Like, if somebody invests in Oneflow and HubSpot and they don't use it in the most efficient way, the implementation phase is kind of thrown away. Or somebody who used to use Oneflow or HubSpot like 5 years ago says, I can do this, and they do kind of a half bad job. Nobody gets adopted in the tool, and all of a sudden Oneflow is exactly as HubSpot, a really bad tool. It's never about the tool.
Very expensive.
It's never about the tool. Very expensive also. Definitely, yeah.
I want to add one thing, and that is also, I think, when times are tough, it's very easy to become very sort of self-centered as a company. So, like, try to keep being customer-centric. That's a sort of tip for me for 2025. Don't be too self-centered. Don't forget about your customers.
That's great.
Exactly.
Well, given the time, I think we need to wrap this up. But if anyone has any questions or about Oneflow or Struct Sales, HubSpot, whatever, feel free to reach out to me or Emilia or Oliver, and we'll be happy to support you and answer your questions. So with that said, thank you so much, Oliver and Emilia, again. It was really
Thank you.
drilling this part.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone for listening. Take